This little building was originally intended to be just a storage shed. So I didn't plan it as a full-time residence at all. It sort of evolved that way. And I have lived in the hovel for 7.5 months now, full time. And in that time, I've pretty much experienced most weather conditions that we have here. And so I kind of wanted to walk you through like what really works well, what I'm going to do again in the full-time residence that we're getting ready to build this summer, some things that I wish we would have done differently, and maybe some things that I'm going to change in this building, because anyone who's ever built a house knows it takes time. This isn't going to be an instant thing. So I'm going to be in this little space for at least another year. So I think I'll start in the kitchen. Um, I like how the shelves look, but because I cook with butter, like most of my recipes start with put a big hunk of butter in a frying pan, heat it till it's brown, and then put the ingredients in the hot butter. Everything on those shelves gets greasy and dirty really fast, and you've got to like take it all off, wipe it all down, and instead of just wiping off cabinet doors. So I think that if I had known this was going to be a living space, I definitely would have put cabinets in here rather than shelves. The other thing is because I hadn't planned on putting shelves necessarily on the wall, I didn't really keep track of where the pallets were. So it was really hard to find the supporting parts of the pallet that would hold these shelves up. And there might have been some swearing for that. Um, the single burner butane cooker thing works great. Sometimes I'd like to have more than one burner, but for the most part, I'm pretty used to that, so no big deal. Um, I would like to have another cabinet with some drawers, and I'd like the drawers to be big enough that I can put that cooker in, just because then I would have a little more counter space to do whatever projects I'm doing. That will probably get done. The other thing that will probably get done is I desperately need another outlet, like right there, so that I can plug my slow cooker and stuff in, because the cord is barely long enough to hit that power strip there. So that will probably get done because, like I said, I'm going to be here for another year. So those are pretty simple things that can happen. The wood stove and hearth worked amazing, and they definitely got their tried out this winter, because we had one of the colder winters that we've had in years, and I was without electricity for 3 days in a row at one point, and then I had a couple of other days of no electricity, and so all I had for heat was this. My generator would run the water pump, which is a 12-volt water pump. It would run the lights, which are 12-volt lights, but it would not run any other kind of heat. So this was my heat. One thing I was really impressed with is, because this is so dense, I mean, because it's this thick and then there's another probably inch of earth behind it, this whole area, including the walls, would it would heat up, and it would hold heat for about 4 to 5 hours after the fire went out, which was nice because I could burn it all day. I could let the fire go out about 10 at night, and it would still be pretty decent in here at 6 or 7 in the morning when I got up. It might be a little chilly, but it was definitely tolerable, and then I could just restart the fire, and this thing heats up like quick. So the refrigerator, it works fine, but I wish it was up higher, because you basically have to get down on your knees to see what's in there. There really isn't anything I can do about that in here. There just isn't any space on the counter for it. So it's something that I'm just going to live with, but if I ever designed a space with one of these in, I would definitely put it up higher. So one thing I will not be doing in the new house is this ceiling. I love how it looks. I mean, it's just so rustic and fun. It's also dirty and an amazing place for spiders and bugs. So I would not do this again in a house. And if I were going to use cedar poles for the interior of any house, I would make sure that I went ahead and peeled them completely, because you can't clean them like this. It just falls all over you and makes a bigger mess. So now this shelf here for like all my little electronic things, it needs some work. I need to get behind it right there and put some washers. I did not chip out the plaster or anything, but so it's not even, because this plaster is just hand applied and you don't use a trowel or anything, and so it's not even. So that means that the pipe here, I think you can see, isn't, it's not up and down. So that's a problem. But it's a minor problem, I guess. So in the future, if I was going to do this, I would chip out the plaster. So I also didn't plan for an outlet, which means it ended up, sticking out of the wall. I would much prefer to have it inside the wall, and that could have easily been done had I planned. As far as the plaster, it works really well. I'm happy with it. This is not the finish coat. This is just the rough coat. But there is one spot right here under this window that I did not get put on the wood very well, and so it's loose. So I'll probably chip that off and refill it before I do the final plaster. This window works well for me. If you were taller than me, I think it might be a pain in the rear, because I'm 5 foot, and so I don't whack my head on it, but anybody who's 5'5" is going to, so that might not be good. I would do this fan again. It works really well to keep things. But I do need an air conditioner in here, and in September, when it was so hot, I actually had a portable one in this window, which is less than ideal because I like to be able to look out. So I think what I am going to do this spring before it gets hot is take my sledgehammer and my Sawzall and cut a hole right here in the wall and mount that sucker in there permanently, because then I don't have to mess with my window being, locked up. Now this shelf, which holds a lot of heavy things, I actually did chip out the plaster and put in a 2x for support. And so I could see like where all the supports on the pallets were and get a very sturdy shelf. And then you can see when I replastered it, it was from a different spot, and so the dirt's a little different color. But that won't matter because it's just the rough plaster. So this window, I love the baking dish window. It's my favorite one because it says oven proof on it on the top. But it worked great. I will definitely do this in the house that we're going to build. I love these recycled windows. The glass block windows, the same. I like them kind of the diamond, the ones that are square. And the reason this is square is because there wasn't room to put a diamond one in there. So, and then this was just like a tabletop, an outdoor glass tabletop. So those I definitely want to do again. The bed, I don't know that I'd really change anything. I probably will make a curtain to hide the stuff that's under there, but that's just cosmetic. It works really well. It pulls out into a full-size bed, or it pushes into a couch. The couch isn't super comfortable because it's high for storage, which means that my feet don't touch the ground, which is kind of not great. And it's actually deeper than, so I can sleep on it. So it's more like a day bed. Not super comfortable to sit on, but it works. And then the door, nothing to really change. I like the burnt wood. I'll probably do that in the house just because it's a really cheap way to make it look good. And then we're back to the kitchen again. So tell me what you think. Do you see anything that you would absolutely change, or something that you would add or subtract? If you have any questions, if you have any ideas for me, please drop those in the comments. I really appreciate all your comments, and I read them and try to answer everyone. And we will see you next time.